Here's a question most men never ask themselves. Which version of me is actually running my life? Because if you're like most successful men, you're stuck in one gear, grinding, controlling, solving, doing everything right, but something still feels off. And I get it. It looks like discipline. It looks like leadership. But underneath, that's just survival. See, every man is made up of 4 archetypes, 4 distinct energies that, when integrated, create power, peace, and presence. But most men are only using 1, maybe 2, and the rest buried or forgotten. You might be leading like a king, but you've shut down your lover, so you're emotionally unavailable. You might be showing up like a warrior, but your magician's offline, so you have no real inner clarity. This is why so many driven men feel stuck, disconnected, or secretly empty, even when everything on the outside looks like it's dialed in. Here's the part that no one tells you. The more unbalanced you are, the more your shadow takes over. And that's when you start sabotaging the very life that you have built. In this video, I'm going to break down the 4 masculine archetypes: the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover, and show you how to identify which one you're trapped in and how to integrate all of them to become whole again. So let's dive in. Most men live inside one dominant archetype and they wear it like a badge of honor. For some, it's the warrior, always doing, always pushing. Their self-worth is tied to their productivity and performance, but the moment they stop, they don't know who the fuck they are. Others are stuck in the king. They're obsessed with control, structure, power, but behind that is fear, fear of chaos, fear of feeling, fear of letting go. And then there are the men who've locked the lover away because emotions, they're messy. Softness, that's weakness. Because somewhere along the line, they were taught that vulnerability, that makes you less of a man. And don't even get me started on the magician. That's the part of you that sees clearly, feels deeply, and knows what's true, but he's been drowned out by noise, hustle, and numbing. So what happens when you rely on just 1 or 2 of these? You become lopsided, reactive, externally successful, but internally fragile, broken. I've seen it in CEOs, athletes, entrepreneurs, men who can lead a team, fight through hell, but crumble in their marriage, or sabotage the quiet moments because they're terrified of what they'll feel in the silence. Being trapped in one archetype is not strength, it's imbalance. And that imbalance, it finds a way to break you. For me, I lived in warrior mode for years. I thought it made me strong. I was relentless, disciplined, obsessed with progress, but under all of it, I was afraid of stillness. I didn't know how to slow down without feeling like I was falling behind or falling apart. I remember one day, business was going great, the money was coming in, it's fine, but I was sat on the edge of my bed, and for the first time in a long time, I just stopped, and the silence had hit me like a fucking brick. There was this heavy emptiness, not depression, just like this feeling that something was missing, and I didn't know how to name it. Looking back, I wasn't weak, I was just unbalanced. See, I'd buried the lover, shut down emotionally, ignored the magician, so I had no reflection, no spiritual grounding, and my king, he wasn't leading. He was doing his best just to try to hold everything together. This is the trap. We build a life from one archetype and then we wonder why it doesn't feel whole. And that was the turning point for me. When I realized I wasn't broken, I was just incomplete. So let's break this down. There are 4 masculine archetypes every man needs to understand and master. Each one of them has a mature expression and a shadow side. And your growth as a man depends on learning when to lead with each and when to rein one in. So let's start with the one that most men are familiar with. This is the warrior. This is the part of you that is disciplined, structured, and action-oriented. It gets shit done. It fights the good fight. It shows up. In its healthy form, it's focused, it's driven, brave, reliable. But when it's wounded, it becomes rigid, aggressive, addicted to doing. You push through everything, including your own limits, and you call it strength. Now, before we get to the lover, the one that most men have exiled or buried or straight up even denied, we need to talk about the part of you that holds your wisdom and your intuition, because without that, the lover just becomes dangerous and the warrior, he burns out. The magician, he's your inner guide. It's the part of you that sees patterns, connects the dots, holds space and knows the truth beneath the noise. It's your intuition, your emotional intelligence, the part of you that observes instead of reacts. When this archetype is active, you reflect before acting, you pause, you create clarity and strategy instead of just reacting. But the shadow magician, he manipulates, overthinks, and uses intellect to avoid emotion. You've met this guy. He's the one who intellectualizes everything to avoid feeling anything. Then there's the king. He's not a tyrant, he's not a ruler that's obsessed with control, because he's a true king and he leads with presence, calm and conviction. He sets vision, he holds boundaries, he provides direction. He doesn't need to raise his voice. His energy says enough. But when he's wounded, that king, he becomes passive, indecisive, or narcissistic. He tries to dominate rather than lead. A mature king knows who he is, and he rules his internal kingdom first. Now let's go back to the lover. This is the one that most men are afraid to let out. The lover is your capacity to feel, to experience beauty, emotion, pleasure, depth. This isn't about being soft. It's about being alive. It's about connection, intimacy, and vulnerability, but the real kind. The healthy lover brings balance to the other archetypes. It softens the warrior. It grounds the king. It inspires the magician. But when it's suppressed or contained, you either become emotionally numb or emotionally chaotic. But when all four are integrated, you're no longer stuck in reaction. You lead yourself, you lead others, and you become whole. Most men, they don't hear this stuff. Not from their dad, not from their mates, not even from themselves. They just keep pushing, keep performing, keep numbing, and they wonder why life feels like something's always missing. So here's the truth. You're not broken. You're just unbalanced. And until you reclaim parts of yourself that you've buried, you will keep building a life that looks good, but it doesn't feel right. These four archetypes aren't some abstract theory. They are a mirror. They show you who's running the show and where you've been hiding. If you're actually ready to integrate this, not just know it intellectually, but live it, I run a free challenge inside my school community. It's for men who are ready to do the deeper work and finally lead from their center and not their wounds. The link is going to be in the description below. Join the brotherhood, take the challenge, and start becoming the man you were meant to be. Because the world, it doesn't need more performers. It needs integrated men, and that starts with you. See you tomorrow.